Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depends where you are watching from at this moment of the day. This is Global Message TV bringing to you politics, religion, and other metro news. And at this time, I deemed it so essential to bring to your awareness this Biafran briefing for the European Parliament. The letter by Mazunande Carlo, the full text. And bringing it is not just because so many of you have not seen it, but I want us to, look at this and comment on this video whether actually this letter comprehensively contain what actually is the problem, or it lacks some, or whether there are some things said here that are not exactly the facts. So because a lot of people have been saying, no, this is not true. Why so many are saying, yes, this is true. So I want you to tell me what you think about this letter I'm going to read now that was presented in the European Parliament. Okay, at the European Parliament, sorry about that. Okay, now, please, if this is your first time of watching our YouTube channel, please don't fail to subscribe. By so doing, you promote our YouTube channel. But if you are already subscriber, thank you. May God continue to bless you as you continue to watch and share to other people too. Okay, the letter reads this way. To start with, Nigeria in crisis. That's the first caption. There is a crisis in Nigeria. The Nigerian state has never been at peace with itself, and recent events amplify this pending emergency. And as has been the case since independence from Britain in 1960, Biafrans are the easy target of the lack of a credible Nigerian state. Nigeria governs without the consent of all within its borders. Nigeria claims to be ruled by law, but in effect, there is a de facto lawlessness in Nigeria. Nigeria's epidemic of violence flowing from the north is well documented. In 2014, the Global Terrorism Index judged Fulani militants to be the fourth most deadly terror group in the world, behind Boko Haram, ICS, and the Taliban. Lawlessness is always one step ahead of the government. In response, the government, when it is convenient for it to do so, attempts to give a veneer of legality to the lawlessness. Recent proposed land reforms across Nigeria do just that. The Fulani herders from the north are increasingly encroaching on the settled farmers of the south to southeast. This includes Biafra. As Amnesty International has reported, there were more than 2,000 deaths in 2018 linked to the land crisis. Instead of seeking to address the violence, the government has sought to condone it and legitimize the land grab. So our question is this real truth? That's why we're making this video, reading this particular information for you to say something about it. Tell us what you think about it. We are going to read this letter to the end. So guys, pay attention and let us know what you think about this letter, whether it's going to create impact to the movement of IPOP a nationalization of sovereignty of Biafra land. So this is the letter they presented, or Biafran briefing for the Europe Parliament. Okay, let's continue. The same paragraph, we are still on Nigeria in crisis. Okay. Lawlessness is always one step ahead of the government. In response, the government, when it is convenient for it to do so, attempt to give a veneer of legality to the lawlessness. Recent proposed land reform across Nigeria do just that. The Fulani herders from the north are increasingly encroaching on the settled farmers of the southeast. These include Biafra. As Amnesty International has reported, there were more than 2,000 deaths in 2018 linked to this land crisis. Instead of seeking to address the violence, the government has sought to condone it and legitimize the land grab. There is an underlying problem in the north which has to do with climate change and encroaching. This certification, due to overgrazing and deforestation, this has drawn Fulani herdsmen further south and led to violence against Biafran farmers seeking to defend their land and crops. The fertile farming lands of Biafra are very attractive to the Fulani. To address this land crisis, the government, the president of which is Fulani, sought to establish the Ruga scheme, an acronym for Rural Grazing Area, or is it, as some suggest, a Fulani word, whereby Fulani herders could officially move into areas and absorb land as part of a government-coordinated program across Nigeria. That's what the Ruga, he said it means, and the purpose or mission or objective of the Ruga. Okay, let's continue. Is this an attempt to develop settled land practices for the Fulani, or as is the experience of Biafrans? Is the drive behind Ruga an attempt to funalize or Islamize Biafra land and force out Biafrans? Biafrans who stand up to the Fulani are killed because they uproar across Nigeria, because of the uproar across Nigeria. The Ruga settlement program has been suspended, but the National Livestock Transformation Plan, NLTP, remains in place. This program advocates ranching. However, how different is it from Ruga? For Biafrans, the effect is the same. They are forced from their land and will be killed if they do not make way for the Fulani. It's referring to the Biafrans that if they do not make chance for the Fulani, when the Fulani wants to force them out of their land, they will be killed. So guys, we still need your contribution on all this. What do you think is the fate of all this to the actualization of the sovereignty of Biafra as it has been briefed to the European Parliament? Okay, the next paragraph is Nigeria, the problem, not the solution. Nigeria has always been a fiction. The state we now know as Nigeria was created for British administrative and colonial convenience in 1914. An audacious move by the British, but no surprise in empire. Britain's Nigeria drew together. desperate people into one entity. To oversimplify, the North are the Muslim. Two ethnic groups dominate the North, the Hausa and the Fulani. The Fulani are now in ascendancy. 100 years ago, these were semi-nomadic, pastoral people. Many Fulani continues to live as herders. The South is mainly Christian, and in the Southeast, there is also a vibrant Jewish tradition. The rural communities in the Southeast and the South tends to be settled farmers. The principal ethnic group in the South is the Yoruba. The Southeast is the region that makes up Biafra land or Biafra. There is a coherence to Biafra. Its western border is the river Niger, and it incorporates most of the Niger Delta. The eastern border is Cameroon. To the west, across the Niger, are the Yoruba. In the north are the Muslim people. Despite colonization and being forcibly absorbed into Nigeria, Biafrans are defined by common values and a shared sense of identity. Biafrans don't all speak the same language. Many Biafrans are Igbo speakers. Other Biafrans speak Ohobo, Isoko, Ijo, Epie, Ogwe, Ogoni, Efik, Anam, Eket, Oron Ibibio, Ogoja, Ijahan, Igala, Idoma, Ibani, and Ibanke, among others. To put Biafra in each Nigerian geopolitical context, Biafra land is made up of the following provinces: River Province, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Ebonyi, Imo, Anambra, Abia, Enugu, Bayelsa, and Delta. Fulani herdsmen have shown great interest in the provinces that form the central belt of Biafra, such as Enugu. The Biafran War is another paragraph. The Biafran War, 1967 to 1970. With independence, the persecution of Biafrans started. One colonial master was replaced by another, although and without endorsing British rule. Biafrans fared better under the British than they have under Nigerian dominance. First, the Biafrans who had been transplanted to the north by the British were massacred. Those that survived fled back to Biafra. The oppression and the intimidation did not cease. In 1967, Biafra was left with no choice but to proclaim independence. Nigeria declared war. Biafra didn't stand a chance. The conflict turned the Cold War on its head. The Soviet Union and Britain actively supported Nigeria. Biafra, Britain's scheme, was how many described the UK position. French compassion was gratefully received, but it could do little to protect the fledgling states. Americans' neutrality in the effects backed Nigeria. China was silent. The UN was hopeless. Biafra was doomed, starved into submission. After 3 years, the Biafrans surrendered. At least 20 million Biafrans perished. Oh my God, they are so rest in perfect peace. The atrocities, war crimes, and crimes against humanity committed against Biafran during the Biafran War remain uncounted for. Was it an attempt at genocide? Biafrans were considered an existential threat to the state. The killings were indiscriminate. All Biafrans were targeted. Another paragraph, Biafran subjugated. After the war, Biafrans slowly rebuilt their world. But as far as Nigeria was concerned, they were not and never had been Biafrans. They were Nigerians from the southeast or Igbo-speaking Nigerians. The Biafran War was airbrushed out of the Nigerian consciousness. Biafrans could only whisper about their loss. Joining the global Biafran diaspora was one option for those who could get out. Others remained in Biafra land, their Biafran identity amongst themselves undiminished. Nigeria continues to prioritize crushing assertions of Biafran identity, even peacefully commemorating the war risk, arrest, detention, prohibited ill treatment, or being shot. In recent years, the Nigerian State authorities have conducted three orchestrated campaigns against Biafrans. The three Operation Python Dance campaigns have been battled against Biafrans. The first campaign was in 2016, the second in 2017, and the third is ongoing. They are designed to undermine calls for Biafrans' self-determination. Operation Python Dance campaigns intimidate. Serious and systematic human rights violence are carried out by the state forces with impunity. A voice for Biafra, another paragraph, the indigenous people of Biafra. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, is the main organization which represents all people who consider themselves to be Biafrans. IPOB has one principal purpose. IPOB calls for the recognition of Biafran people's right to self-determination. IPOB pursues the right to self-determination for Biafran without the use of force. IPOB opposes human rights. IPOB rejects violence. The Nigerian authority targets organizations calling for Biafran self-determination. The Nigerian authorities tagged organizations calling for Biafran self-determination, most notably IPOB. Being found with IPOB symbols can result in an individual being disappeared. Arrest is inevitable, and now that IPOB has been proscribed, prison sentences are harsh. The IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu, has been tagged. He has been targeted, harassed, and persecuted by the authorities. He has been unlawfully detained, subjected to prohibited ill treatment and unfair trials. It is a miracle that he is alive today. Following an attack on his home, he was forced into involuntary exile. Many of those defending him were killed or disappeared. there is still a warrant out for his arrest. Biafrans supported by IPOB respond calmly to these targeted attacks, organizing stay-at-home day each 30th May. They organize stay-at-home day each 30th May, the day Biafra declared independence in 1967. No one in Biafra land goes to work that day, and the economy, along with everything else, grinds to a halt. As Nigerians denies the human right of Biafrans, the Biafrans become more skilled in honing those rights. IPOB remains committed to non-violent campaigning. Biafrans become more skilled and more skilled in those rights. Okay, another paragraph, a right to self-determination for Biafra. International law is clear in relation to self-determination. Where there is a credible claim for self-determination, the only way to resolve the issue is by holding a referendum which complies with international standards. IPOB is calling for a referendum. It is for that reason the Nigerian authorities have sought to brand IPOB as a terrorist organization. The EU, the UK, and the US has all rejected the labeling of IPOB as a terrorist group. They know that IPOB seeks only to uphold human rights. Impunity, not allowed. Another paragraph. It is not only the direct attack of Biafrans by the Nigerian state that perpetrated in intimidating and tormenting of Biafrans. Nigeria's policies of accommodating Northerners have a direct impact on Biafrans. No different to 1967, Northerners act with impunity in Biafra land. The current land crisis in Biafra caused by Fulani herders is just one more chapter of brutality facing the Biafran people, carried out the tacit support of the Nigerian state. Despite the apparent suspension of Ruga, Northerners continue to threaten Southerners, including Biafrans. They will have no peace if Fulani are not allowed to establish the Ruga scheme, the Fulani said. The land crisis throws into sharp relief Nigerian crisis. The government of Nigeria is, to all intent and purposes, given land to Fulani herders from the north which belongs to Biafra farmers. These are the same Biafrans who legitimately claim their right to self-determination. Biafran farmers live in fear. The farmers of Ebonyi and the Enugu are particularly affected. This torment must end. Biafra is entitled to resolve its own future and security. Why self-determination matters? IPOB has always called for creative solutions to recognize Biafrans' rights to self-determination. However, what is clear is that the existence of model of the Nigerian Constitution is fatally flawed. It continues to cause harm to all within the jurisdiction, and it is unsustainable. Nigeria may once have worked for the British as a colonial administration. It has never worked as an independent state. To this extent, it is failed state. Nigeria is an artificial vehicle which betrays those with power or aspiration for power. As there is no legitimacy to the state of Nigeria, there is no rule of law. Law is used as a tool of coercion by the authorities to crush opposition. Others, such as the Fulani herders, simply ignore the law and act with impunity. Biafran, African future. Biafran pleas for self-determination are ignored by the international community. Why are Biafran voices not heard? Resolving Biafran's legitimacy claim for self-determination will solve Nigerian crisis. Biafra is a forgotten global crisis. IPOB believes that by resolving Biafran's right to self-determination, Africa's peaceful future will be revealed. To that extent, Biafra is Africa's future. The effect of Nigeria's permanent state of conflicts resonates across the continent. Okay, this is really the letter, the IPOB, the Biafran briefing for the European Parliament. So that's exactly what I read out now. All are the articulated briefing by the indigenous people of Biafran, which Mazen Nandekalo is the leader. So guys, you have had this letter, or you have read it on your own. What do you think about it? Do you think this will impress the UK, the EU, sorry, and other international bodies and other European countries to, feel for Biafrans and help them for this referendum they mentioned in this briefing? So a lot of marginalization they talk about, a lot of killings they talk about, and a lot of other issues they talk about. Are those true? If they are true, let us know. If they are not true, let us know. So, what is your stand? And what do you think is going to be the outcome of this European Parliament movement? And other movements of these indigenous people of Biafra. So tell us what you think. So we're gonna meet you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment. God bless you. We meet in the next video. Bye bye.